All the links are presently in the description box, actually, for Scott's work. And now we are moving over to David Weiss. Huge thank you for coming on, David.
Shaun, thanks for having me. Any chance you can make us both landscape so my graphics will show properly?
Ooh, let me
There is a
just
simple button that does that, I believe.
yeah. So we've got different choices of
There
things.
you
Let me
go.
have a look.
Perfect. Perfect.
Is
Stop.
that it? Is that it?
Excellent. Excellent.
All right. So earlier on, then I introduced you as one of the world's leading experts on flat Earth.
Let
You
me
will be
interrupt
offering.
you.
Okay.
I am not the world's leading expert on flat Earth. I am one of many people that have been researching this. I am the loudest spoken. I go on the most shows. I've committed my life to doing this. So you can say clearly that I am the most getting around flat earther. Definitely not the smartest. I'm using everyone's information. We're all learning together. I'm just out here trying to present it. So there you go.
What is the theory of flat Earth or the reality of flat Earth as you believe?
So the reality is that people that believe we live on a globe have no idea what the globe is. Like if I asked you, you might know because you had Mark Sargent on, I believe. How fast is the Earth spinning at the equator? Do you know?
No.
All right. Do you know how fast it's orbiting? No. Do you know how fast it's chasing the sun? How many miles it goes a year? These numbers are absolutely ridiculous. And when I was asked those questions, I didn't know either. And I'm like, why am I defending the globe when I don't even know what the globe model is? The next thing is when people go, well, flat Earth is stupid because this is what people are led to believe flat Earth is. This is mixing flat Earth cosmology with heliocentric nonsense, right? Why are all the other planets round, right? We'll get into what the other planets are. This is not what flat Earth is. This is what they want you to think flat Earth is, so you never look into it, right? So here's something. I want to show you something absolutely crazy. Okay, this is the heliocentric model, right? We are spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. So when you're watching the sunset, right? When you're watching the sunset, you're here on the Earth. The sun's up here. The sun isn't just going away. You're falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound. Okay, spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. That's what the heliocentric model says. We're also orbiting at 66,600 miles an hour. We're chasing the sun at 500,000 miles an hour. And that's just three of the many motions that we're going, right? So let's put that into perspective. This is the hypersonic sled track. Did you see it? It's going to go, I'll show again. It's going to go by a Mach 8.6. Okay. So you have to believe that we are going 10 times faster than this around the sun, speeding up and slowing down in an elliptical pattern. Okay. People go, well, you're on an airplane. You could drink a glass of water. That's because an airplane is enclosed. It's only going 500 miles an hour and it's going in a straight line. As soon as that airplane turns, the water's sloshing. So we're orbiting the sun 10 times faster than this that you can't even see. And we're chasing the sun 100 times faster than that, again, in an elliptical orbit, speeding up and slowing down all year long, right? But then somehow we go out into nature and this is what we see. We see lakes. What does this lake tell you, Shaun?
What does that lake tell me in terms of the how level the Earth is?
Well, level and stationary, right? If the Earth was spinning, now the Neil deGrasse Tyson, who presents himself as a scientist but really is just a failed actor, he tells us because of the spin of the Earth, the water accumulates at the equator and bulges 14 miles high. That's what they tell us. I'm like, hey, that makes sense on a spinning ball. Yeah, the water would bulge at the equator, right? Does this water look like it's bulging or sloshing? We're moving in 4 different directions at once, going hypersonic speeds that you can't even fathom. But meanwhile, we have lakes that look like this. Okay. This proves beyond a shadow of a doubt. Now, when I say flat Earth, well, people go, there's mountains and there's valleys. We live on a topographical level plane. Okay. Large bodies of water, anything bigger than a cup of water, lay flat when at rest. There is no curvature. On a ball requires a physical horizon. Like, you can't see part of my face because it's behind a physical horizon, right? So my finger is going to go behind a physical horizon. The 24,901 mile around ball requires a horizon for at 3 miles to be 6 feet away. I'm sorry, a 6 foot tall person standing at the edge of calm water on a ball, the size that they tell us it is, requires a physical horizon to be at 3 miles. But when we look, we can see way, way, way beyond that. So let me just try to find a quick video here. Here we go. So when you zoom in on something, the sky, when you're looking at distance, the sky meets the earth, and where it meets, that's the limit of your eyesight. But when you get a super zoom camera and you zoom in, you're increasing the angular size. And when you increase the angular size, all of a sudden there's a boat there. Okay. Now, when I zoom out, you're going to watch this boat disappear from the bottom up. Is that going behind a physical curvature, or is that an optical effect with the angular resolution limits of our eyes? And it's clearly optical. Clearly.
Okay,
so,
I've got a question from Sigma 6, which ties into what you're saying right now.
Shoot.
What does high, low tides tell you?
So high and low tides tell me that the water rises and goes down. But what's we believe that the sun and the moon, the moon causes the tides. Well, so you got the earth here, you got the sun over here, and you got the moon over here. Well, wherever the moon is, this is a full moon because the sun is lighting up the moon and the earth sees the moon. So when there's a full moon, there are higher tides. Interesting. But when there's a new moon, that's when the moon is over here with the sun. So now the sun's gravity and the moon's gravity is pulling on the tides, but the tide isn't as big. Think about that. That makes no sense. There are higher tides when there's a full moon, and that's because the moon is powered up. The moon is not what they tell us, okay? So when you look at tides around the earth, there's all of these little no tide zones where there's no tide. The Maldives, which are little islands on the equator, they're only like a foot above sea level and they don't go underwater. Interesting. Okay. They should be 14-mile bulge. 14-mile bulge. Think about this. Okay. Neil deGrasse Tyson tells us at the equator, there's a bulge of water 14 miles high. That's 3 miles. Okay. No, that's not 3 miles. 14 miles. It's 14 miles. 14 miles high. Well, when you're in a plane flying at cruising altitude, you're about 5 miles high. So that means when I fly from the USA to South America, I have to triple my cruising altitude just to skim over a hump of water. That never happens. Large bodies of water at rest lay flat. Now, there's huge tides in the north, really low, barely any tides other places. The whole tide thing is actually very, very interesting. And I have a playlist on my app about the tides, and we keep adding more and more information to that. But let me tell you the official story of the tides, according to Neil deGrasse Tyson, the failed actor. Okay? If my head is the moon, there's a high tide over here. It's represented by this blue bulge right here. But at the same time, as we all know, here, there's a high tide and a low tide every 6 hours. Low tide, high tide. So every 24 hours. So 12 hours away, which is over here, there's another high tide at the same time. You want to hear the official story? This is the official story for why there's a high tide over there. The gravity from my moon head is pulling the water away from the earth. Cool story. Very cool. At the same time, the gravity of my head is pulling the earth away from this water. That's not even a cool story. That's absolutely retarded. Okay. And then the earth spins through that bulge, which is absolutely not true. There is no correlation between the moon's alleged gravity and the tides.
You got a question from Lucy Peters. If you turn a cup of coffee, the water stays where it is. Does the earth chase the sun?
No. So the Earth doesn't move, right? So the Earth is a here. Let me pull up a different thing first. So if we look at what the Earth is, they tell us that Antarctica is a continent on the bottom of the ball, right? They tell us this is Antarctica. 13,000 miles around. It's at the bottom of the ball. They also tell us Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. And I always found that weird. I'm like, maybe that's why it's at the bottom of the ball, because it's higher and it's heavier and it's throwing the ball off balance, which is ridiculous. But it's a thought that I had as an uninformed, ignorant human. In reality, we are surrounded by Antarctica, right? When you have a puddle of water, after rain happens, all the water settles in the low spots, and you have a puddle. What constitutes the edge of the puddle? That's where the land is higher than the water, right? That's the container of the water. And if there was a low spot, the water would flow out and go somewhere else. If a pond or a lake, what's the container? The container is the shoreline that's higher than the water. Dig a trench on the side of the lake and the water will lose its container. Any large body of water needs a container. Well, the largest body of water that we know of in our known world is our world oceans. We have all of the islands and continents, and the container is the shoreline, which some people call the ice wall. I call it the ice shoreline, cliff, if you will. And this is the container for our world. You with me?
Yep, I'm trying to make you big. Sorry, hold on.
Yeah, you made yourself big.
I know.
You can keep us even. I kind of like it like this.
Okay.
But whatever you want, if you want to make me big. So this is the container of our world, right? So the question is, what's beyond the shoreline of Antarctica? And here's the thing I want to say first. We don't know because no one's allowed to go there. You're allowed to go to this little peninsula right here and spend a ton of money. There's 100 companies all owned by the same guy that will allow you to go here, but they won't allow you to go out to the outer areas. So the question is, what's out there? What's out there? I like to speculate. This is just a possibility. There could be nothing out there. Or we could live here. This is Antarctica. And out here on the level plain with the level water on our flat Earth, there's other land, more territory, extra territory. If you lived out here and came visiting me in this inner space, I might consider you an extraterrestrial from the extra terra in outer space, the outer space. All of the biggest telescopes in the world are in these southern locations, Santiago and Johannesburg and New Zealand. They're all looking out. They're not looking up. They're looking out south. How's that?
Oh, all right, we've got 21st century.
Wait. Well, last thing, getting back to their question. The sky is a perfect clock, right? It's the sun is the hour hand. Wherever the sun is, it's noon. It goes around once a day, every 24 hours. If I speed it up, you'll see that it's catching up to the moon and the moon is waning. It laps the moon every 28 times around. 28 times around. That's a lunar month. Okay? The moon, its position, its phases keep track of the seasons, of the weeks, right? And then the stars, which do the same thing, the stars are going slightly faster than the sun, and they lap the sun once every 365 days. So the sun will fade back into each constellation for about a month. At the end of the year, next year, same day, same time, everything in the sky is exactly the same, except the wandering stars, which we now call planets. Go out tonight, everybody. Mark the stars at whatever time. Make a little star chart. Put an alarm in your calendar. Go out next year, same day, same time. And every star will be in the exact same position, even though we're 4.4 billion miles from where we were last year, and all of the stars reset. That doesn't sound like a heliocentric model. Go ahead.
21st century heretic has asked why flat Earth theory has no coherent explanation for what an eclipse is.
Yeah, that's totally incorrect. Their theory for the eclipse is absolute insanity. So think about this. They believe, okay, that you got your sun and moon, and you got your sun, moon, and they believe the sun is 400 times bigger and 400 times farther than the moon. And somehow they line up perfectly, okay? in this crazy gravitational model, right? And they line up perfectly. The chances of that happening are infinitesimally small. But guess what? They happen again and again and again. The chances of them happening twice is absolutely ridiculous. You have a better chance of winning the lotto 100 times in a row without even playing. Okay. There's eclipses every year. And here's the weird thing. Every 18 years, the eclipse cycle repeats again and again and again, kind of like a perfectly designed clock, right? But here's the thing you got to remember. When you go out on a full moon night in a totally desolate area, you can read by the moon's light. So the light shining from the sun off the moon reflects back to the earth and lights up the earth, casts shadows on the ground. You can read by it. During a solar eclipse, we're supposedly over here where you guys are on Earth, and the moon goes in front of the sun, completely blocking out the sun. Well, the sun is lighting up the Earth. So we have a full Earth if you were standing here on the moon. Well, the Earth is shinier and 6 times bigger. So the amount of light shining on the moon should be far greater than the amount of moonlight shining on the Earth. But nobody with any equipment from any location, from airplanes, from the International Fake Station, from anywhere, infrared, has been able to see the sun, the moon, approach the sun, eclipse the sun, or exit the sun. They've never seen it because that's not what's happening. Now, we do have explanations. And again, if you go into my app, the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, if you click the question mark down on the bottom right, what about eclipses? Click that button and up come an ever-growing playlist of videos that they don't want you to see that explain how ridiculous the heliocentric model is and what's possibly going on there. And we do have a whole bunch of models, but the truth is we're not able to go up into the sky. So, all we can do is figure out what's impossible, right? Figure out what's impossible. So there you go. So this is part of what's going on. The sun travels, I don't know if I told you, it goes in between the 2 tropics, Tropic of Cancer, the Tropic of Capricorn, every 6 months. And that's why we have the seasons. The moon does the same thing, but it does it every 2 weeks. Okay. So this isn't to scale or to speed, but when the moon and the sun hit a nodal point, that's when you have a new moon, you have the sun. And when they hit this nodal point, that's when we have an eclipse. Why is it that NASA gets their eclipse data from one guy, Fred Esperneck or something like that? If I get the name right, eventually I'll get it right. He's the one that tells them, and it's because he's using a thing called the Soros cycle, right? And that was around long before anyone even fathomed that the Earth was a globe. Everyone's known, all ancient cultures have known the Earth is flat for forever until NASA came around.
All right, before we proceed then, you said it's ridiculous because one line aligns with the other perfectly for an eclipse.
Yeah.
But isn't it the case that the one in front just needs to be bigger than the one behind to create an eclipse?
Well, they look like they're the same size because they are. They tell us that the moon is going around the Earth this way, but we're orbiting the sun this way, and the stars are spinning in different directions in the north and the south. But in reality, all the stars, the sun and the moon, all rise in the east, set in the west. They spin around perfectly over the flat, non-motion, stationary plane Earth.
All right, David, thank you. So Sigma 6 has asked, do you believe there is a giant, quote, cake cover over the flat Earth?
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty much of a troll comment. The question is, a lot of flat earthers believe that we have a dome over us. And that's because they were told that the space is a vacuum and you can't have vacuum next to high pressure without a physical barrier. I don't believe space is a vacuum. I think space is liquid. There's lots of evidence of that. We don't have enough time to get into that. But is there a dome? I don't know. I can't go there. But there's lots of evidence of there being a dome. If you ask me, I think there is a dome. I don't know what it's made out of. Maybe it's solid. Maybe it's frozen. Maybe it's glass. Maybe it's energetic. I don't know. Haven't gone there. Can't touch it. If you can't touch it, you can't actually say what it is. Here's something. Someone in the chat earlier asked about the moon. They're like, well, the moon looks like it's round. And you know what? I agree with that. But my question is, look at the lights in your ceiling and describe the shape of your floor. There's no correlation. Shaun, is this a sphere? I got 4 moons here. Is this a sphere?
Yes.
Okay, so that's kind of unfair because it's a half a sphere. You really can't see the other side. So that's interesting. How about this one? Is this one a sphere?
It appears to be a sphere.
It appears to be a sphere. Welcome to flat Earth. Now, I don't think the moon is flat. I actually think it's a sphere. But what you see in the sky, unless you can touch it in measurement, how about this? Is that a sphere?
Again, yeah, same answer. Yeah,
it's a cup. All right. So again, unless you can touch it and measure it, you don't know. Right. Here's something. I'm going to show you an illusion. And normally when you see an illusion, you can see through it. And your brain will go, oh, that's how it works, but you're not going to be able to see through this one. Are these tables the same dimensions, width, and size?
No.
Okay. Well, they are. Look, exactly the same. Now that I showed you, can you see it? Looking into the sky looking at your ceiling to figure out the shape of the floor is no way to possibly do that. The optics of the sky, especially if there's a dome, especially if space is liquid, that's no way to figure the shape of the Earth.
So how do pilots fly around the Earth then? What is their trajectory based on?
Straight and level. This is a great question, and then I'm going to show you guys something came out just yesterday, and this is a game changer. All of the globe trolls are in a meeting today, and they're literally ready to kill themselves because it's literally game over. So let me ask you a question. If we're on a globe, northern hemisphere is at the top, southern hemisphere is at the bottom. You can pick any 2 locations in the north, any combination, anywhere, north to north. Would an airplane have to cross the equator to get to the other one by going in a straight line?
It doesn't have to cross the equator.
It wouldn't have to, and you're absolutely right. No flights going from any northern location to another northern location ever cross the equator, okay? Which is very interesting, right? But when you look at flights that go from southern locations, that's not what we see. I'm trying to find one here. Hold on. When we look at flights, this flight, it goes all the way up here and then all the way back down, crossing the equator twice. But when you look at it on a flat Earth map, it's pretty much a straight line, right? Very interesting. Why do southern flights constantly cross the equator, right? They could have gone straight across here, but instead they went all the way up to Los Angeles and then all the way back down when everyone on this flight wanted to end up here, but they almost doubled the distance. On a flat Earth, happens to be a straight line, right? If you look at, there's also a thing that happens occasionally on a flight, there's an emergency landing, right? Someone gets sick, somebody gets hurt, right? They got to do an emergency landing. This flight went all the way up to Moscow, 1,000 or more miles out of its way. Why? When you look at it on a flat Earth map, Moscow's right on the line between the origin and the destination, right? And here is another one. This one, they went all the way up to Seattle, right? Or no, Calgary. They went all the way up to Calgary, which is way out of the way. But on a flat Earth, this is a globe version. On a flat Earth, Calgary's right in line with their track. Amazing. Why? How many times does this have to happen, right? They, instead of going all the way up to Moscow, 1,000 miles out of the way or more, Moscow is right on the line, okay? So, you know, people say, well, where's my, I'm looking for a new image I have. They say, how did Japan attack Pearl Harbor if the Earth is flat, right? And because they look at a stupid meme, they've been brainwashed. But here it is. It's right here. Give me 1 second. And then you can hit me up with another question because I can go on and on and on. Here we go. So people say, you know, how does that work on a flat Earth? Here's how it works on a flat Earth. Japan, Hawaii, bam, straight line. That's it, right? This is it. If you can actually stop falling for the garbage out there, the trolled stuff, if you stop believing like Bill Nye, the lying guy with the bow tie, boats go over the curve, and they show it from the bottom up. Well, they don't. They don't. We can see too far. I can look across Long Island Sound here, 7 miles. I can see people on the beach. There should be dozens of feet of curvature, okay? But I can see the people on the beach sitting on my beach. That's impossible on a ball, unless the Earth is 1,000 times bigger than they're telling us, which is a whole nother problem. But it's not. It's flat. It's level with hills and valleys.
David, you're one of the most compelling guests we've ever had. We've got about 5 minutes left. There's so many questions. Would love to get you back on.
I would love to come back on. Let me tell people how to find me and how to learn this stuff themselves. Now, a lot of people say, I'm a scam artist. I'm here just to sell a tracking app. Absolutely not the case, right? This is the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. It shows you how seasons work. It shows you how the sun travels in and out. You hit the frequently asked questions. All the questions that you guys are going to ask, they're all answered in here. Like, hey, what about ships over the horizon? Boom, videos that you will not be able to find on YouTube. These are shadow banned videos, right? There's also tons of other information here. All of my interviews right here, hundreds of interviews like this and longer ones. Watch them, check them out. All sorts of very, very cool stuff. Discord servers, all sorts of stuff. Books, right? Boom, this is a great book. And this is one thing I'm going to show you and then we'll be done. And then also 16 emergency landings, which is the first book here. This is documented 16 emergency landings. I showed you a few of them. And basically that book is amazing. It's free online as a PDF, or you can order the actual book. But every day, here's the challenge I have. If you think flat Earth is stupid, great. Give me one proof of the globe and you win 3 Bitcoins. But before you do it, you have to watch the daily video every day. There's a video here. You just tap on this and up comes a daily video. At the end of that 2 weeks, check the frequently asked questions, make sure it's not there, and then you can email me your proof and you win 3 Bitcoins, okay? The problem is, spoiler alert, Earth is flat. It's not going to work. But today's video is what I want to tell you about. It's called Flatten the Curve. We've heard that before. Where did that come from? Right? And it's military pilots and Navy guys, all these guys whistleblowing, talking about the equipment they use, how they know the Earth is flat, the weapon system they use. It is unbelievable. It's 90-minute video. Watch it. It's featured on the app today, but if you miss it today, you just go into the app on the web button, bottom right, Flat Earth Movies. It's the #1 video right there. It'll be right at the top of the list. And check it out. It's a game changer. Post it on your Facebook, tweet it, share it with everybody. Tell them, hey, you're trying to win 3 Bitcoins. Help me prove it. And anyone that tries to prove flat Earth or tries to prove the globe or disprove flat Earth ends up just like me, a friggin' flat earther.
What about if we brought someone like Sir Richard Dawkins on to debate you? Would you be up for that?
Absolutely. He will not come on. Get Neil deGrasse Tyson, get Bill Nye, get all of these high profile guys. None of them will come on. They won't. Neil deGrasse Tyson was supposed to debate Eric Dubay on the Joe Rogan Experience, right? And then Neil must have gotten a phone call. Don't do it. You're going to be destroyed, right? So these people will not talk to us. They even say it. We don't have time to meet with flat earthers. But they have time to make video after video after video, straw manning us, gaslighting us, making up, Australia doesn't exist on flat Earth. That's not true. That's a mainstream story. Or they'll show a guy, hey, this guy is a daredevil. He tried to jump on his steam-powered rocket to prove the Earth was flat. That's not true either. He was a daredevil trying to do the highest jump on the steam rocket. It goes like 1,800 feet. Well, go in an airplane. It's much higher than that. And he ended up killing himself. But he had a flat Earth billboard on his thing, so on his rocket. So they kind of made it look like that. And they use stuff like that to gaslight us, to make flat Earth look stupid. Flat Earth is where you live. Real quick, why the lie? It's because they're hiding more land. They're hiding the true creation. They're hiding that you're at the center of creation. They're hiding that nobody has dominion over you. The only power people have over you is in your imagination. There's more land. There's more food. There's everything that they're telling us. We're running out of water. Nonsense, right? All of that is nonsense. And all of the information can be found in the app. The app is $3. Last thing on the app is is there is a subscription that you do not need to go. But if you want to find other flat earthers near you, you hit the friend finder button, and up comes all of the people near you that have the app. And people are using this actually to find jobs, to date, to have meetups. All of these people are amazing people. Flat earthers are the most amazing group. Real quick,
and within those friends, David, are the hollow earthers. Are they friends of yours?
You know, the hollow earthers end up becoming flat earthers when they look, because there is stuff below us. You look in, you hit the Tataria links on the app, and you'll learn that all of our history is a lie. This lie, by the way, is less than 100 years old. What? Less than 100 years old? What about Aristophanes? Okay. That's all made up stories. They were teaching flat earth worldwide all the way up to the 1960s. That's crazy. But there are old people alive saying, yeah, they taught us flat earth. And then they changed it. We went through a great reset. All of these wars, World War I, World War II, all of the other stuff. This was part of a reset. We're literally just coming out of one, and they're trying to throw us into another one, because enough people are waking up, taking back their sanity, taking back their God-given place on this flat earth plane. And they don't like that. So you can find me at flatearthdave.com. All my links to the app are there. Make sure you get it by Blue Water Bay, because Android already has a Flat Earth Society knockoff one with the same name, and it's all garbage, okay? Make sure you check out the reviews. You don't even have to buy the app. Just read the reviews. That'll turn you into a flat earther. Flatearthdave.com. All the links are there.
Thanks, David. All your links are below the video. You're a very charismatic speaker. Love the visuals. Love the gesticulation, and we'll definitely find somebody for you to debate with to bring back on. So you have a great rest of your day. Thanks for coming.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Wow, that was super interesting.